So, I believe that in my heart that I'm doing what is necessary in a positive way, thinking appreciative thoughts, meditating. You know, all you can just list all the things, right? All the lists,
too, yes.
You know, right? So I'm wondering to myself, okay, so, and you know, okay, so I'm going to say this, and don't get on my case because
we can't.
You know, where's the money?
Ourselves.
Where's the money? Right? That's kind of like where I'm coming from because we're here to learn. Oh, you know, and everybody probably, a lot of people here probably want more money, so we have to say it to you at least once, right? Okay, so what is it? Fine tuning or
well,
you know, because I played all the wonderful Abraham, things that have to be done. I believe, and yet it's not there. So obviously, the manifestation is a reflection of my energy. So what's the energy I need to change? I'm perfectly willing to do that. You know, whatever it is.
Well, we want to address your wonderful question fully, and we are appreciating the heartfelt stance from which it is offered. And we want to say to you that if you have been, and you have been, applying a lot of the process, or maybe even all of the processes that Abraham has been offering, we want to say to you, those processes must not have been heavy-duty enough for the vibration that you are talking about. Now, here's what we mean by this. When you're in a vibration of frustration or overwhelmment, and we say, get a notebook and write across the front of it, my book of positive aspects, and then find someone or something that you want to focus upon and put it as a heading on the first page, and then just sit for 5 or 10 minutes when you have an opportunity and just write the appreciation that you naturally feel for this person or this event or this thing or this experience. And then just go from page to page until over a period of a few days or weeks you fill the book completely and then get another one. In other words, become one who literally rampages with appreciation on different topics. And then we say there's a process that we call pivoting, where you know what you don't want and then you know what you do want. And if you have the ability to know what you don't want, then you certainly have the ability in that moment to identify what you do want. So turn your attention to what you do want and talk about why you want it. Remember things like it. Pretend that it's already happened.
Right.
Then we talk about the wouldn't it be nice if game, where you just pick some light, fluffy thing that you think you would like, and you say, wouldn't it be nice if such and such happened, and wouldn't it be nice if that person did this, and wouldn't it be nice if it felt like this, and wouldn't it be nice if this turned out like this, and wouldn't it be nice if. And with all of these processes that we have offered, and you've done a good job of applying them, we feel sorry for any of you who try to apply them all because we are eternal spewers of processes. What happens is, if you're not getting movement from a deliberate application of processes, it means these processes are being offered for someone who, on this particular subject, is higher up the vibrational scale to begin with. In other words, they're not working for you if you are in a place where you truly feel unworthy, or they're not working for you if your current experience has you really feeling fear. In other words, if you are feeling powerless and you're writing in the book of positive aspects, there's a very good chance that you are writing words because they sound good. You're doing your homework just like you think Abraham would like you to do. But the processes, if the processes aren't making you feel better, then the processes aren't working for you.
But they do. I can do the process, and I can start glowing, and I can start just, I feel like I'm floating, and I'm just so happy.
Well, if the process makes you feel better, in other words, if you are glowing and you are experiencing an improvement, and yet the manifestation still is not coming, then that means is part of your time you're beating the drum that makes you feel good, and part of your time you're beating the drum that doesn't feel so good. And there's a sort of fulcrum point here where you must be doing more of that than you're doing of that. It is simply airtime to the universe. In other words, I say to the universe, I'm wanting that, and I say to the universe, but here's where I am. And then I say to the universe, wouldn't it be nice if? And then I say to the universe, but it's not very nice that this is happening. So you just have to tip it a little further.
So I'm aware of that possibility. In fact, that's the likelihood. The question is, where is this negative energy that's holding me down? Because I haven't a clue where it is, or what it is, or anything.
It might be that you think that there is negative energy. In other words, we can feel, and we understand why you feel this way. Here's what you're saying. All right, Abraham, I've been listening to you for a long time. I've been doing everything that you've said, and this particular subject has not changed in my experience. What am I doing wrong? And the what am I doing wrong is the dominant vibration within there. The why isn't it changing for me? Or what is the negative energy? People get very creative. It must be karma. It must be a past life. I must be doing something wrong. And what we want you to say and understand, we talked about this already here today, we want you to try for just a little bit not to feel so judgmental of yourself about where you are about this. In other words, you are the product of an environment, most everybody is, where you have been seen as you are. And so Esther laughed at Jerry the other day as he was teasing her. She was really serious with him about it, though, because she said something about something that she was going to do. And he reflected back to her what she usually does. And what she usually does is different than what she just said she was going to do. Mm-hmm. So what he was in effect saying was, I know you think you're going to do that, but you're not really going to do that. Mm-hmm. Well, where did he learn that? He learned that from watching her. In other words, he's heard her say that before, and he's seen her do that before. And when he pointed it out to her, Esther actually could feel how she's saying one thing, but he knew her vibration was so different from what she was saying, he couldn't hold it in. He should have.
Yeah.
But he couldn't hold it in. In other words, it was just so obvious to him that what she was offering vibrationally and what was really going to happen and what she was really attracting and where she was really heading were very different from her words. Now, we would have said to them, if they had asked, they didn't. We would have said to them that it is better for Esther to offer the words of what she expects or of what she is wanting. It really is better for her to at least try to point herself in the direction of what she wants. But there is something really worth taking time about. In other words, when you're saying that you want something and you're consistently not getting it, then you just have to finally stop and say, I'm clearly not offering the vibration that I think I'm offering. I've got to find a way to offer a different vibration.
That's why I'm here.
And that's what this moving up the emotional scale process really is about. It's the reason that we're talking about it with the intensity and the steadiness. In other words, we're bringing it up a lot because there are a lot of people who have things that they've wanted for a long time that aren't coming. Anybody here? In other words, there are a lot of people that have that thing that they've wanted for so long. That's why we begin by teasing you, by saying, and of course you love those old stale desires, don't you? Those stale desires, they don't feel good. In other words, it's not fun to have something that you've wanted for a long time and it doesn't come. And why does it feel so bad? Because it is sort of a declaration on you. It feels to you like it's a failing on your part in some way. In other words, what am I doing wrong? Now, you hedged that just a little bit by saying, is there negative energy? And we know that you sincerely want to know what it is you're doing wrong. And we want to say to you, you're just not feeling the right way about it. You don't feel like it's going to happen, so it can't happen. And then you say, well, that's why I'm here. I'd like to feel differently than I feel, but how can I feel differently than what I'm living? And we say, you have to pay less attention to what you're living and more attention to what you're wanting. And you say, I've heard this from you for 10 years, Abraham. We had this exact conversation 10 years ago, 9 years ago, 8 years ago. This exact same conversation. I'm tired, you say, of having this conversation. I want something new. I want a new perspective. I want a new way of looking at it. So here it is. Okay. Do you feel powerful or powerless about this subject? Jerry did it to Esther. They're doing it to you.
Okay.
In other words,
okay.
That's the way you feel, whether you know that's the way you feel or not. Are we quite sure that's the way he feels? You can take a nap if you want. We'll just talk to them.
I don't think I'm powerless. I just think that I need to do something different than what I'm doing, and I don't know what that different has to be.
But if
that's all right.
but if you don't, well, we like that you don't think you're powerless, and we don't want you to feel powerless. And so maybe we should find another word. Do you feel powerful or confused?
Probably confused.
Better word for you.
Yeah.
Do you feel confused or exhausted about the topic?
A little exhausted, but I haven't given up, so I'm still after it.
Well, we know you haven't given up. It's why you're asking. In other words,
Right.
your desire is out here blazing.
Right.
But how you feel about it. So do you feel hopeful?
Hopeful, but yeah.
Does he feel hopeful?
No.
Well, you
I
see,
do. No.
You've learned all the words. You want to be hopeful. You want to feel hopeful. And hopeless feels awful. Hopeless feels so awful that nobody even wants to admit that they feel that way. We don't blame you for not wanting to admit that you feel hopeless on this subject.
But it's like hopeful, but running out of options. I guess that would be it.
Well, that's very... That's very clever.
Is that
That's
hopeless?
Very clever.
No, really.
That's very clever. And we applaud your desire to sugarcoat your vibration, and we understand why you do it. In other words, that's what we've been talking about here today. It's inappropriate to be angry, so I should never admit to being angry, and and I'd lots rather feel hopeful than hopeless, so I will not say that I feel hopeless, and we're not trying to get you to admit to something that you don't want to admit to. We just want to say that the guidance system within you will show you how to get from where you are to wherever you want to be, and until you acknowledge where you are and feel where you are, you can't really feel the shift that will happen. In other words, as you say you're hopeful and you're up here doing hopeful kind of processes, you're not really getting any long-term movement. Where if you would acknowledge that you've been feeling a little hopeless, and then you really do some work here and now to feel something that feels better to you, and only you know, and the words that we're choosing don't matter at all. You just got to pick somewhere and see if you can't feel something that feels a little better. When you feel an improvement, you'll know you've felt an improvement, you see.
So I'm starting at a too high of a level.
You are.
Somehow.
You are.
I see.
And so we would say that you are far enough down, and listen, there's no judgment in that. When we say far enough down, we're not saying you're inappropriate and therefore you're far enough down. We're saying the way life has touched you and the way you began and the first impressions that you got from adults that were around you and the way people viewed you. In other words, all we're saying is you picked up some vibrations that you've been continuing to carry around that on this subject clearly are not serving you. And it's time for you to take the bull by the horns, so to speak, and shift some vibration on that. So as you feel hopeless or as you feel despair, and we know you don't like any of those words, but it's sort of where the vibration is on it, we think that it would be beneficial for you to pick something that is higher on the emotional scale and give it some airtime and see what it does to you viscerally. See if it gives you any sensation of relief. The operative word is feeling some relief, feeling some relief, feeling some relief, feeling some relief. Now, you can change the subject and get happy on a lot of things. Mm-hmm. But changing the subject and getting happy on other things doesn't move anything on this subject necessarily. Now, if this subject was getting no airtime, you could ignore it altogether, just get happy about other things. You'd be happy most of the time, and it would be a non-issue. And you'd say, hey, I am a happy fellow. I'm hopeful all of the time, and we wouldn't disagree with you at all. But because this is getting so much airtime, meaning it's something that shows up in your life every day, you're feeling so much around it, it comes up a lot, you're beating the drum a lot about it, it's really worth dealing with it.